which players in this top 15 do you feel are like can't miss? Who are your draft crushes? Because you always have interesting. Last year it was Tristan Wirfs. I remember that. You were like, this guy is great.
Yeah, Tristan Wirfs and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, so you called that. So who are your draft crushes this year?
My draft crush this year is definitely Najee Harris, man. I think that guy's so underrated, bro. And like
and he's underrated because he's a running back.
He's underrated for a lot of different reasons, right? But one, he's a running back, like you just pointed out. But two, people are knocking him for having tread on his tires. Well, if you look at past behavior to predict future behavior,
Eddie George tread on his tires.
Yeah, Eddie George. You look at guys like Steven Jackson. You look at guys like D'Angelo Williams. You look at guys, how
about Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry. All these guys had tread on their tires. So to use that as a determining factor on knocking the guy because he has tread on his tires, you're doing yourself a disservice because based on past behavior, that don't mean crap.
When I watched Alabama, just judging, like looking at the defense and kind of trying to sense what freaked them out the most. It seems like when you're facing Alabama's offense, Mac Jones is great. Devonta Smith is great, but the main problem is Naji Harris, and everything kind of works off of that. The fact that no one dude on a college defense really can tackle him, and these guys, like defenders, are legit afraid of him. Then the play action game works off of that. Jalen Waddle's a great player too, but I still feel like Najee Harris is the straw that stirs the drink at Alabama. If that, you know what I'm saying?
No, he is. I mean,
if he weren't there, it would be different.
If Najee Harris wasn't the running back, this offense would look vastly different because I believe Brian Robinson is the backup running back. And although he's a tough runner between the tackles, I don't see him being, the focal point of that offense. I think Najee Harris obviously brought more than just a north-south violent running style type of a game. He can obviously turn a 3-yard loss into a 3-yard gain. And he was really good as a dual threat.
He can catch
running back. Yeah. Catch and run player after the flat.
So, yeah, I mean, it seems like it's true. You shouldn't be drafting running backs in round one as a rule. But I think as an evaluator and as a drafter, you always got to be like, well, if there is a generational player, regardless of position, I can't just pass him up. If this Najee Harris is a future Hall of Famer, I'm not going to pass on him because it's round one and I could take some edge rusher who's not going to be a future Hall of Famer. So, like, if Bo Jackson's in the draft, do you take him in round one? Yeah. If it's Marcus Allen, yeah. If it's Derrick Henry, did Derrick Henry go too low? Should he have been a first-round pick? Yeah. So, in that sense, that's interesting. I don't know if I would take Najee Harris with the 12th pick, but again, you know this much better than me. And if you say this guy is your favorite player in the draft, I take that very seriously.
I just think at this point, when you look at how the draft board currently stands, Grant, and you look at the top of the draft, obviously there's a lot of moving parts because we don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. But based on my current mock draft, and I've been doing my mock drafts starting since last year, you have a lot of these quarterbacks that are going to be pushed up the board because of trades. And then when you get around where the Niners pick, Patrick Surtain's likely not going to be there because he's going to fall off anywhere from the Carolina Panthers pick down to the Denver Broncos, and then obviously the Dallas Cowboys. They all haven't yet a cornerback. So when you look at it from that standpoint, and if you're GM John Lynch and you know that the edge rushing class is weak, you don't want to reach for an edge at 12. So your best bet would to be and do the right thing and draft the BPA in running back Najee Harris, because what he brings to the table is something that the 49ers do not have, and that's durability at the running back position. And when you take that into account, he also brings 1,000-yard rushing potential. We haven't had 1,000-yard rushing potential player since Frank Gore left in 2014.
Yep, that's true. So who would you compare him to, and do you think he's like the best running back to come out of college since when?
I mean, I would compare him to Derrick Henry. I mean, that's my comp. Now, his ceiling, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Derrick Henry, but I see the similar skill sets as far as his game is concerned, what he brings to the table. Now, his floor, I mean, like I just said, he'll get 1,200 yards rushing easily. You just feed him the rock.
And isn't he pretty young? I mean, he's a true junior, right?
Yeah. He's a senior.
He's a senior?
No, you're right. He
was just in high school over here in Antioch like a few years ago. Yeah. When I watch him, it looks like he has terrific patience for a bit. He almost reminds me like a young Le'Veon Bell, but bigger and more violent.
Yeah. No, I think about, he was a senior because he went to the Senior Bowl, remember?
Okay.
He was a Senior Bowl. Okay. But no, that guy, he went to Antioch, man. And that guy's a I've been watching him since high school, bro. That guy's a freaking. He played against my cousin at Deer Valley, bro, and like I was like, who is this kid? This kid's freaking balling, bro. Like, dude,
Do you think he'll be available at 12?
Oh, absolutely. I have him falling off in the 19 to 25 range. So if the Niners were to get him, they would trade back, just like my Justin Jefferson scenario on my draft cards last year. Trade back in the 19 to 25 range and pick him up, because you have guys. You have to be able to look at the draft board behind you too. You have guys like the Pittsburgh Steelers who need a running back. You'd be a perfect fit in their power run.
Oh my God!
And then you have.
Oh my God!
Right. So you look at that, and then you look at the New York Jets. Well, they pick 2 and they pick at 23. So if you go with Zach Wilson, you then find him a workhorse running back that Robert Saleh can use and take the pressure off Zach Wilson in the running game. Now you have 2 core foundational players you can work with for the future. So there's a lot of things moving parts here. They have to be able to not trade back far enough to where they know that Najee Harris is going to come off the board, but just low enough or high enough to where you know you can get him around that area.
This is why Ryan is my go-to guy on draft stuff. He's my go-to guy in general. So I just want to take this opportunity. Make sure you follow Ryan on Twitter at BeastRider and subscribe to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/BeastRider. I have to get a new YouTube address because mine's youtube.com/ and I want to be cool like you. So you'll have to show me how to do that. But hey, follow BeastRider because he's going to have all kind of great draft insights the next few months. You're going to definitely want to watch his stuff because I'm just going to be stealing from it the next few weeks and stuff to sound smart. Najee Harris, I no one considers him because he's a running back. But what if he's the best what if he's the best player in the draft? Where would you rank him just on your big board, regardless of position?
Right now, I have him ranked number 4. I put it on my podcast, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy!" They know that's my draft question. I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, who's 1, 2, and 3?
Number 1 is obviously Trevor Lawrence, and then obviously when you look at number 2, you're going to look at the wide receiver. So Devonta Smith would be 2nd, and then Jamar Chase, who didn't even play in 2020, would be 3rd, and then Najee Harris.
So you have Najee Harris above Penei Sewell?
Absolutely.
Wow. What do you see from Penei Sewell, real quick? Because that's my guy.
Yeah. So I did a podcast on that too. So, anyways, Penei Sewell, I like him. I like him a lot. Okay. He's good on his reach blocks. He'd be perfect. He's not scheme dependent. Compare a power run scheme or his own blocking scheme doesn't really make a difference. And he is a left tackle that you can work with for the foreseeable future. I have him going to the Cincinnati Bengals, mocked at number 5 to give Joe Burrow some help.
Everyone sees that, yeah.
But you know, it's funny how I don't have him in the top 5 and have Najee Harris above him. But Penei Sewell, great in vertical pass sets, jump sets, angle sets, does it all. The only problem I see with Penei Sewell's game is he doesn't finish plays sometimes. He doesn't work
a nasty streak.
Yeah, he doesn't work his feet so much to the point where, like, especially against edge rushers, he allows him to win with momentum and he stops his feet. You need to keep your feet churning because if you stop your feet, then you lose leverage and then you get caught off balance, and then the edge rusher can then use your forward leverage against you and so forth with a rip pull or a swim move, whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of different things that Penei Sewell does well, but there are flaws in this game, just like with any prospect. But Penei Sewell, definitely a top 10 pick, if not a top 5 pick. For sure.
Well, look, I have a feeling Niner fans and pundits are going to start talking about Najee Harris the next couple of months because it's kind of the elephant in the room. And when they do, remember that Ryan brought him up because I wasn't thinking about Najee Harris. And he's definitely someone you got to consider because even though his position almost takes him off your radar, you gotta go back and be like, is this guy special, though? Is this guy better than whoever I'm going to take at 12? Because odds are he probably is. So that'll be a very interesting way to break down where you're picking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the pro day
weighing against Najee.
Yeah, the pro day is going to be crazy because pro day is where his stock's really going to rise. I mean, I can always foresee what's going to happen, usually more times than not. Mm-hmm. He's going to have like a 37 to 40 inch vertical, right? His broad jump's going to be in like the 126, 130 range.
He's going to run like a 4.5 flat.
Yeah, 4.5 flat. You're looking at a 4.5 flat guy.
At like 235. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would say 222, 227.
227.
I think he wants to come in a little bit lighter because what you want to do is you don't want to jeopardize your speed. Yes. And based on his physique, he's going to have a strong lower trunk. So when he takes off his shirt and does the 40, you're showing off your physique, but then you're also showing off your quads and your hamstrings. Sure. And for running backs, that's what you look for is the lower half, not so much the upper body strength, because obviously you want to keep your legs churning on initial contact. So when you put that all in together, you're going to see Alabama Pro Day where Najee Harris is going to be the talk of the town, and people will be like, "Oh man, should he be a top 15 pick?"
Remember when Darren McFadden, was he the 4th pick in the draft?
Yes.
I remember I was talking to a coach about him, and he always was like, "Look at his legs, man. His bird legs. How do you draft a running back with bird legs in the top 5?" And that ultimately was the reason he didn't succeed. His legs, his lower half.
Right.
I seen thicker legs on a chair, Ryan.
Dude, I have.
No, that's Devonta Smith. Do you put Devonta Smith over Jamar Chase? And if so, why?
Yeah, it's a tough one. For the simple reason that he played last year with Jamar Chase. Obviously, he had this similar year back in 2019, setting SEC records and so forth with Justin Jefferson there. He also had a strong supporting cast, just like any SEC school. But what I see from Devonta Smith, I see the next Marvin Harrison.
Ooh. Does he have that speed? Because Marvin was fast.
Absolutely. Okay. Devonta Smith is the next Marvin Harrison. That's my comparison.
So the way he plays, I can see it. Only question is his speed. How fast do you think he is?
4.4.
I'm cool. Then if he's 4.4, I can see Marvin Harrison for sure. Because Marvin Harrison about 6'1", 175, right?
Yep. And he's really smart. He's savvy and he has good, strong work ethic. And the one thing that I've been told, and what a lot of people have been told, is his work ethic is bar none. So when you take that into account, the work ethic, you can disregard his frame because you know he's going to put in the work both on and off the football field to get stronger where he needs to get stronger at in all areas of his body.
And for the record, Ryan said his draft crush is Naji Harris, to wrap this up. Yeah. But he did rank Devonta Smith ahead of him.
Now watch me be wrong.
I'm just saying. I love that you're because you're higher on Najee than most. But you're not putting him number 1. You're putting him 4 behind 2 wide receivers, 1 on his team, and Trevor Lawrence. I think that's reasonable.